What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J&B Unsupervised, and this is Super Bowl edition. This is going to be all Super Bowl talk, and we're going to dump right into it right off the bat, Brandon. Super Bowl, what was it, Super Bowl 50, 54, 50, 58?
No. First off,
That's right.
prayers and thoughts to everybody, families, friends, and prayers and everything. You go out to everybody that was infected by the 3 shooters at the parade after it was all done and said and over with. It's very unfortunate. It's very sad. Uncalled for. There was one fatality. Unfortunately, she was a Kansas City, I think.
Our wishes definitely go out to that family. Definitely.
She was a news...
DJ. She was a local DJ in Kansas City on a radio station. Lisa, I believe was her name. So
she passed away. Hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to that family and her. And
you're never going to divide us. Chiefs Kingdom came together. Shout out to the fans that took action and didn't run. I wish nothing but a speedy recovery to all the kids at Children's Mercy that were
and adults
that were hurt in this. Like I said. People can say what they want. America, when it comes to guns, I'm going to keep it short. People talk about banning guns. That's not going to solve the problem.
No.
It'll never solve the problem because if you ban something, people are always going to find a way to get it. At the same breath, like I said, those 3 individuals that, caused a lot of heartache to a lot of families, friends, and, turned a celebration into something, very negative,
nasty and very bad. And this isn't a political podcast at all.
No.
But you can't take guns out of people that are going to use them in harm.
Yeah.
And like the good guys and guns showed up.
Like I said,
shouts
to the Kansas City Police. Quick shout out to the fans that took quick actions.
The 2 fans the fan and the other fan that came and tackled one of the suspects that is in custody.
It's ridiculous that people let arguments turn into that and you end up hurting innocent families. Especially, I'm upset that obviously adults, but when you hurt children between the ages of 6 and 15, fucking shame on you. Excuse that, but shame on you. I'm glad that, it could have been a lot worse. But like I said, quick thank you to the Kansas City Police and the fans that took action. Wish nothing but a speedy recovery. We're not going to give those 3 individuals any light of day.
Any more time than that, outside of prayers and quick recovery for everybody that was affected. Yeah. And kudos to Kansas City and the Chiefs organization, players to stepping up
and doing the right thing
where they can help and being there for the fans that were there and shielding and helping the kids and families.
On that note, welcome back to another great episode of J&B Unsupervised Super Bowl Talk Edition. Super Bowl 58.
Yep.
Between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, which the Kansas City Chiefs came out victorious in 22-25 in overtime. And when I tell you, my heart was pounding that whole game.
Oh, yeah.
We were over at my man's Brandon's house, had a great time, food, drinks, watching the game. I had my family there. His wife was there. We had our buddy Tanner over there as well. And what a game was. That was probably one of the best Super Bowls we've had in a very good...
From beginning to finish.
From beginning to finish, really great.
It doesn't pair as well.
People want to say that the refs, talk about the refs. I thought we didn't have to worry about the refs. I thought they let the guys play. They played, and the players ultimately decided how that game was going to end, and that's what I love the most. We're not sitting here talking about, damn, that referee got involved or that referee did that. I know that you got the haters out there that are going to say nitpick, and that's because you're haters, and if you hate greatness, shame on you. Just enjoy the sports game. But like I said, it was 22-25 in overtime, and we're going to dive right into this, Brandon. We got to talk about a very big piece about this game. The 49ers players and coaches did not understand the overtime rules. And I got to tell you, that is absolutely disgusting, embarrassing that this is your profession full-time. Yeah. And you do not understand the rules. And you didn't understand the rules until you saw them on the big board. Kyle, the fullback. So you're telling me if we score a touchdown, they still get a chance to go down? Yes. I can. How do you not know the rules or have a discussion leading up? Kansas City,
they had the prep for 2 weeks. They talked about it. They had prep every week, every day. They had a prep of the Super Bowl, of overtime, what they would do.
Yep.
Even Mahomes, there's clips of Mahomes.
Shocked that they took the ball.
They were shocked that he was like they call it right. He was asking a read which way you want to kick, which way you want to kick, and then they said they wanted to receive.
Mahomes' face was just shook when they said that.
There's pictures of him just like confused. I think the ref was even slightly.
The ref even said, "Are you sure?" The ref says, "Are you sure?" Like we have the ref on record saying, "Are you sure?" Like you want the ball first.
When they said they wanted ball first, I looked at him and everybody else, and I was like,
"Oh my God, we got what we wanted."
I'm like, I want my defense out there
people
first.
are complaining about this, but this is what you wanted. You wanted both teams.
Buffalo got what they want. Buffalo, 13-second game with Kansas City and the Chiefs. They got what they wanted. They wanted the opponent team, which I agree with 100%. In the postseason, both teams have the opportunity to control the ball. It's not regular season. It's postseason. It's hard to get there. It's hard fought. Both teams deserve a chance to score or to win the game.
Well, if you think about it, obviously outside of, again, not being biased because you think we're Kansas City Chiefs fan, that bullshit holding pass interference call they called on, I think it was McDuffie, that I didn't think was, that kept that drive alive. But the 49ers got down in scoring position and opted for the field goal and didn't go for it on fourth down. Yeah. I thought that was crazy. 4 down territory, I could not believe.
Because
do you think
Mike Shanahan understood the rules. He even came out and said, we wanted the third possession. He fully thought his defense was going to stop Kansas City, as if Kansas City didn't know. If we score a touchdown, we win here. That's where he messed up. Even the Chiefs players came out and said, if they scored a touchdown, we're going down and we're going for two. We're not going back and giving you a third possession. We're not doing it. So that we're going to win. Or we're going to lose it.
Do you think Kyle Shanahan offense made the right decision by kicking the field goal and not going for it on that fourth down? I mean, you think about it. Think about the weapons. Do you think that's more of an play it safe, we want the third possession, or not believing in Brock Purdy to the fullest?
I think it's believing in his defense because they have a top 5 defense that they're starting out there that is held Kansas City in check for the most part of that game. But I think it's believing in his plan of we get a field goal, we hold them to a field goal, all we need is a field goal, we're getting a third possession. And Kansas City had no intention idea of giving them a third possession.
Kansas City knew if they would have scored
or lose it on offense. If they score a touchdown,
they knew they were 4 down territory all the way.
That's the bonus of getting the ball second. If you get a field goal, I at least need a field goal.
It's 4 down territory.
But if I get the ball first, if you get in that 4th and 4, if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, maybe they go for it.
Yeah.
But it was 4th and 4 on a great pass breakup blitz. Drawn up by Steve Spagnuolo, by Trip McDuffie coming off the edge, knocking it down, causing a 4th and 4.
Chris Jones getting right through. He thought it was a screenplay on that third down. He thought it was a screenplay because he came right through. He didn't know, but overall, let's say Brock Purdy was 23 of 38 for 255 yards and a touchdown. Brock played a pretty good game, but he also had some very missed throws.
He missed a couple throws.
But
I didn't think the lights were too big for him. I don't think the quote-unquote...
It wasn't like the Jalen Hurts performance from
It wasn't the Jimmy Garoppolo performance that we saw a couple years back with Jimmy overthrew Emmanuel Sanders. I think if Brock Purdy had that throw, I think Brock Purdy makes that in particular throw. I don't think the lights were too big for Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy managed it very well. He got the ball. They got the ball to start the game. And
overall, in your opinion, did Brock put any doubters to rest with his Super Bowl performance?
In my mind,
the whole, is he a game manager? Is he elite? Even though a game manager is not disrespectful, Tom Brady was an elite game. Everybody's got to be a game manager.
Patrick Mahomes was game manager for most of the end of the season.
For 3.5 quarters, he was a game
manager throughout the playoffs. A quarterback has to be a game manager. That's
Joe Burrow said this: you have to have a game manager.
You have to. If you're out there just slinging it, for just to sling it.
Yeah.
You're going to put your defense in harm.
I'm not going to say he put everything to rest because, like, there were some throws that I thought he should have made.
He missed some throws, but Chris Jones and our defensive line and Carl
you can almost say he never faced a defense like ours. Our defense was disrespected throughout the entire year.
Well, our defense was a top.
Think about it. Our defense only gave up, 15.8 points per game through these whole playoffs.
The most points we allowed was to the Niners.
Well, yeah.
In 5 quarters.
So, I mean, Brock Purdy is a decent quarterback, but
Brock Purdy didn't lose them the game.
No, he did not lose them.
He didn't have any turnovers.
He just happened to go up against one of the best players in the National Football League right now, Patrick Mahomes.
He's one of the best defenses you could put in history. You could book it overall in history that you had to go against in the Super Bowl.
A bigger thing is I honestly think we talked about this before. The Kansas City's, in our opinion, game plans was let CMC do whatever he's going to do, and we took away everybody else. George Kittle, 2 catches, 4 yards. I'm going to repeat that again. 2 catches, 4 yards. A tight end
after his whole entire, I'll be back here after he lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. He gets 2 catches for 4 yards and 1 first down. Debo, 3 catches. 38 yards. He got strapped by Trent McDuffie multiple times. Yes, he did have the hamstring, but he did go out there and keep going. No excuses. You're in the last game, the biggest game of your career.
Ayuk, 3 catches, 48 yards, and he had a lot.
In my opinion, their best wide receiver.
Best route runner, their number 1. He had a lot to say post Super Bowl.
He was very upset.
We're going to have
not featured.
Yeah, I can't sit there and say that, a lot of people have brought up Kyle Shanahan not featuring George Kittle and these guys more. Did you guys ever sit back and think that maybe Spags was like, you know what? We're going to take everybody else away and we're going to let CMC do whatever CMC does and we'll live with that. And that's, to me, what I feel like happened. CMC had 22 rushes for 80 yards. He had 8 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. So it's like...
Not from Brock Purdy, though.
No, not from...
gimme little fake...
Jenkins.
It was supposed to be a deep...
It almost should have... It would have been a pick, but it was a great block by the 49ers.
But we picked it up, and he threw it back to the other option, and McCaffrey got a touchdown. But I guess my other thing is the Niners have all these weapons. McCaffrey was able to get off, and to me, what you're saying is it sounds almost like, if we compare it more to the NBA, of Seth Curry when you play him in the playoffs. It's like, if we can shut down the rest of his options and just let Curry get his, I know we can win.
Yeah.
And that was almost that. If we can contain the options.
Christian McCaffrey had 1 fumble beginning of the game that was very big. He had that 1 fumble, which is unlike Christian McCaffrey.
We returned the favor, though.
We did. And I have to say this, though. Even though we won the Super Bowl, I feel bad for Christian McCaffrey because he's worked really hard. And it just,
he's just a really likable guy.
I like Christian McCaffrey.
It's just kind of such to see a very likable
running
back. I think it's because he's a running back. I think he's just so likable and so diverse in his skill set that it's like, it's kind of like, man, I wish you kind of got a Super Bowl.
He was the engine that made the 49ers go.
But
we took away all his counterparts, and it was like they never got enough.
Well, for me, to me, I'm not trying to get into the MVP debate. Lamar, I guess, was well deserving of it, but I just felt like as a running back, he just didn't get the love he deserved because he was the engine that
we always forced the quarterback down your throat.
Because if you look at Lamar's stats, it was not even as good as Lamar's first MVP.
Yeah.
If you look at if you go by the stats, and Josh Allen, for instance, had better stats, not necessarily turnovers, but better stats than Lamar did. Yeah. So I'm trying to get really into that.
No, we just want to give Christian McCaffrey the love he deserved.
CMC did his job and then some, and it's a tough loss because I think we're just big McCaffrey fans, but I also felt like he deserved.
Are you more shocked that George Kittle had 2 catches, 4 yards, Debo had only 3 catches, Ayuk only had 4 yards, and Trent Williams, who is a Hall of Famer. He got owned. His worst game.
His age definitely shown. I mean, there's clips out there of Trent
back-to-back
Trent McDuffie owning him. There's clips of Mike Pennell, number 69.
Shout out to my man. So he put him in the turf, in the turf, baby.
Jeff Saturday showed it on Get Up of him pancaking him.
What are your actual thoughts of those guys only having those numbers? Like I said, Kittle 2 catches, IU,
to me,
Debo.
I'm not really surprised. I didn't really think Kittle was going to be a huge factor. He wasn't a huge factor in the last Super Bowl or much in the playoffs to begin with. He's not a big route running guy. He's a great
Do you credit more the defense, or do you blame Shanahan for not getting those guys more? What do you give it to?
I would. That one's kind of. I credit our defense. You have to credit the defense for
they strapped
for not allowing them to get open, because there was definitely plays called for them because they had 3 catches, and 2 catches for less than 50 and 60 yards and only 4 yards.
Yeah.
So they definitely had plays called for them, but when the no-name Jenkins is the most impactful offensive weapon outside of McCaffrey, that's kind of a problem, and I think that has to fall back on the head coach / OC, which I don't like on what just broke today, them firing their defensive corner as their scapegoat. I don't
was that the right move, or was he an scapegoat? To me, I think he was
he was a scapegoat.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better, personally, me, I don't know what your thoughts are, it would have been better for him to come out and own this, because he's been to 3 Super Bowls, as two as a head coach, 1 as an OC, but they were up 28-3 on Tom Brady and the Patriots. And you kept throwing it, and giving the Patriots and Tom Brady more chances at the apple to go down and score when you should have been running it.
2 NFC Championship games.
But 2 NFC Championship games, so kudos to you. I mean, the Niners are getting there. But what I'm saying is that he's been to a Super Bowl as an OC, lost that game, and then 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. And the first one, both lost to us, but not necessarily. The first one didn't necessarily lose it to us. The quarterback was outplayed in the 4th, and then this one, I feel like he really just kind of lost it. You should not lose to a team that can't score more than 17 points and lost it. And he scapegoated his DC. They had a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
And to me, we'll get your take, but to me, I think they scapegoated the DC, and he should have took a step back, and he should have hired. I know we talk about him a lot, but I think he should have taken a step back and said, I'm removing myself partially from the OC job and go get an Eric Bieniemy. The dude does not get enough love. We're just going to talk about him a lot. We love Eric Bieniemy. I feel like he deserves more. He gets so much slander. He doesn't get enough. But he needs to go, I think, if you would hire an OC to take something off his plate, and he can focus more on game management, I think Kyle Shanahan would be a lot better off. I think he deserves to stay as the head coach.
I was about to ask you, it's his 7th season.
It is.
As the 49ers head coach. Like we said,
if there's a change they could make, what do you think what do the Niners have to do? The GM's solid. John Lynch has done great. The head coach is solid. They have Brock Purdy, which is a step above what they have had.
I mean,
they have top-paid players, offense and defense, special teams. What is next?
I don't think there's nothing else you could do. I think this team was better. This 49ers team was better than the first.
Top to bottom?
Top to bottom, better than the first 49ers team who took to the Super Bowl. Like, when you sit back and you really look at this 49ers team, you really think, how the fuck did you not win the Super Bowl? How did you allow a Chiefs offense to go, like that defense, when it mattered most? It almost felt like, to me, this is my opinion, I don't know about you, the overtime rules sucked all the life out of the 49ers. Like, they were like, wait a minute. Like, we get the ball first and we score. It's not over. Like, we have to give the ball back. We have to go back out.
I think that falls on the head coach and the coaching staff not preparing them, because they didn't know the rules. They came out and said, we didn't know if we didn't score first, so we didn't win. We didn't know.
And then you had the Chiefs players that literally came out. Like, we've been having this conversation since before the playoffs.
And on
every week,
Super Bowl day prep, they had it twice.
That's my thing, though. How are you, Kyle Shanahan, who's this, we put on a pedestal as one of the great coaches in the National Football League that are in the National Football League, how are you not having these conversations? How are you not, as players, how are you not bringing this up? Because you have to go over every scenario that could possibly happen in this game.
Yeah. I don't
And that's my opinion. I just felt like
they're underprepared.
The overtime rule, the overtime sucked the life out of them because they weren't prepared for Like they did. It's like you went into and you didn't know what you were getting into. Like you.
Well, it's like the coaching staff knew what they wanted to do, but
the
never
players
told the players what they wanted.
Yeah.
The coach said, "We want to receive. If we win the toss, we want to receive." And so that's what the player did.
A lot of people say that that's the reason why they lost. They didn't lose. That's not the reason why they lost. They lost because their defense could not come up with a stop when it mattered most, and you allowed Patrick Mahomes to have the ball last, and then you gave him the ball with a minute. What was it? Minute 58? Or no, that was the regulation. But I'm like, you gave the ball to Patrick Mahomes last, knowing damn well that he's not going to allow you to get another possession. And that's when it really showed what this team was made of. They went down. Patrick Mahomes finally used his legs like we'd been asking for damn near the whole game. Yeah. He was trying so hard to make something happen. But, I mean, to answer your question, at the end of the day, what's next for them? I don't know. Like, you had top payroll. You had the top players. You had everything.
You had the cheap rookie quarterback on the rookie deal.
Who's still going to be on a cheap rookie deal for another year.
For the final year of his deal this year.
You got Ayuk, who's seemed like he's wants
upset.
out.
He's upset that he only got 3 catches. He felt he needed to be featured more, which comes back to the head coach / OC. Even Andy Reid has Matt Nagy.
I mean, think about and something else that has been brought up that people have overblown, the Travis Kelce, Andy Reid situation. That Travis Kelce did not put his hands on Andy Reid. He startled him. Andy Reid even said it. He didn't know Travis was coming up, and it scared him, and that's why Andy did what he did. Think about that, though. Travis Kelce, 1 catch, 1 yard in the first half. After that, 8 catches for 92 yards in the second half. He showed up when it mattered most. Where was the 49er players when it mattered most?
Where was Kittle? Where was
nowhere?
Where was Ayuk? Were they not being featured? Were they not being... To me, it's not being featured as much as are they not being schemed open. But on the Travis thing, they've already said... it was very disrespectful. It was
he even said he wish he could take it back.
It was very wrong and everything else around it. But everybody has to understand, you're in the last game. It's the Super Bowl. Travis
and he
Kelce
felt like he should be featured.
Wears his chip on his shoulder and his spirit on his shoulder. He's there to win it. He wants it. He's even said this is one I wanted the most.
Yeah.
And he felt like he needed to be in the game.
I mean, his speech moved players to tears pre-game. I mean, this meant a lot.
It's just unfortunate that it was.
And we will tell you that it was wrong.
And it was wrong.
It was wrong.
And even his brother said it was kind of wrong. And yes, but you got to think they've been together for 7 years. He drafted this guy. He's the longest tenured.
Travis has even said he looks at him like a father figure.
He doesn't come at him. I don't think if he doesn't see that he could have that kind of conversation with him, and that just speaks to the availability that Andy Reid is as a coach and as a human being. But that was very shocking and very he even knows he can't, but Travis is a very sparky guy. And he's part of why the Chiefs are who they are.
And they wanted to win this one very bad. This
one
meant, like you said,
he was very upset.
So much to them.
That was a big loss. I'm not fumbled by Pacheco.
Yeah, it was because that. Probably if we score on that one, there's no overtime. We win that game.
I think that definitely turns the tone of the game of what the 49ers did differently for sure.
49ers, everyone always talks about this been talk. Can Brock Purdy get back to the Super Bowl? History tells you no. Players that debut in the Super Bowl, lose their Super Bowl debut, never go back to the Super Bowl. Think about the list of quarterbacks that have debuted and lost and never gone back. Been some great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I do think it will break because when you really think about the quarterbacks in the NFC.
Just to stop out, just a quick off, you got Joe Burrow. That's a hard one to say that he's not going to get back there.
Jalen Hurts.
Hard to say you're not going to get back there. Jared Goff with the Lions. Hard to say he won't get back there.
Close. He was there.
Brock Purdy's hard to say he won't get back there with the Niners.
But history tells you
that even if they do get back there, they don't win it. And it's just a hard thing to bump history. Now, things happen. History does get debunked from time to time. But as a Niners, if you're a Niners fan, it's hard to be like, we're going to get back there with Brock Purdy because, as history states it, quarterbacks get there for the first time, they don't win it. Don't ever make it back.
To me, the only problem that worries me about the 49ers getting back there is they got a lot of money tied up into a lot of players.
They don't got to pay their quarterback.
They don't have to pay their quarterback yet, but it's hard to get back there. Think about it. Like we said already, he's been there 7 years. Kyle Shanahan's been there 7 years. They're 2-2 in NFC Championship games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. Health is really gonna, matter. And like you said, we got some friction in that organization right now with one of your emerging wide receivers who is coming in.
He's very upset.
Very upset. Family talked about it. His girlfriends talked about it.
If they had to get back there? What is the things they got to do if they want to?
They fired the NFC. They fired their defensive coordinator, and when you think about people that are available right now, to me, we talked about this earlier. If you want a defensive coordinator, a guy that takes defense very seriously, I don't know if he'll be willing to take this type of role, but Mike Vrabel, defensive coordinator, and I will agree with you. I think Kyle Shanahan really needs to look at taking a step back. You can always introduce. Think about this. Andy Reid and EB. Like you said, EB would be a great option. He's out there. A great offensive mind. Someone that's disrespected in the National Football League for whatever fucking reason. If he's old school, hard on people. You want him to be on you. We're trying to build winners. Like I said, those are the only thing I can think of. You have the players. You have the talent. But at the same time, you've been there before pretty much with the same talent. Different quarterback.
A better quarterback, honestly.
I would definitely. He's better.
I think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Where after this Super Bowl, the entire season, all in one, where do you rank Brock Purdy among the top quarterbacks in the National Football League? Overall, is he top 10?
He's definitely top 10.
Top 8? He's
definitely top 8.
Can't be top 5 though, right?
Probably can't.
I can't have.
I don't think off the top of my head right now I could put him top 5, but he's sniffing it. He's like 6, 7. He's right there. He's proven it back-to-back years, coming off a UCL injury at that. From his rookie year, he's definitely proven it. He's definitely a lot better than. Do you
still have questions about him?
No, I don't have no questions about him. I just need more from him. I need to see more from him. If he comes out like he did, if he replicates what he's done in the past 2 years, he's an easy top 5 quarterback. But I'm a guy that I need to see multiple seasons with. Patrick Mahomes came out. He did it great. 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. I'm like, do it again.
Do it again.
He did it again. I'm like, do it one more time. And he did it. I'm like, what can you say?
Are you worried about Brock Purdy and the fact that we've seen him this season sometimes without his star players and he looked?
That is concerning.
Is that that's my concern. You take away his talent. Is he
concerning that with his left tackle out, he looked vulnerable?
Trent Williams is not no spring chicken.
Well, he's not, but he also didn't have Debo in that he looked a little bit vulnerable-ish. But in those 3 games, he should have won one. They missed the field goal. And he did lead a game-winning drive, and they were up in the other, and the defense let them down, and pretty much all 3. So it's not necessarily on him. I don't think he is the game wrecker as like a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar or a Patrick
He's not like
Mahomes.
a complete game changer, but he can make the game changing
But he can definitely win you games and win you and get you to the pedestal.
He has no fear. I'll tell you that. He has no fear.
The bright lights, it did not stop him. They got the ball first and went straight down the field. Yeah. Granted, it was a lot of CMC, but he was not afraid of
That's not his fault. That
he's afraid in overtime when he got the ball first, it went straight down the field, got the field goal like he did exactly what his coach asked. Yeah. He does what the coach asks.
Yes. Yep.
So I like I said, not top 5, but he's really close.
I definitely think he's somewhere in that 7 to 10 range. I'm not saying he's 10, and I'm not saying he's 7. He's kind of right there for me. There's just so many guys in the league, but history. Like I said, history
in the NFC, who is better than Brock?
Oh, NFC.
You taking him over Dak?
Yeah, because Dak can't win the playoffs.
So you're taking him over Dak? You're taking him over Jalen Hurts?
No, I still
I'm
have.
taking
Jalen over him.
Jared Goff?
That's kind of like where I have him at, is right there next to Jared Goff in the NFC. Because he has a lot of similarities to Jared Goff. I would probably give him the edge.
I would give him the edge over Jared Goff.
I'll give him the edge over Jared Goff.
He's a lot better than Jared Goff in
wow,
games.
so we go NFC. If we go NFC quarterbacks,
so he's
then
2?
Yeah, he'd have to
take him over Jordan Love.
Yeah, for right now, yeah. Jordan Love.
Right now, I mean, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, again, you got to do it again.
Do it again. I mean, he looked good.
Yeah, so number 2, Jalen Hurts is still
in the NFC, but NFC is a completely different beast. I mean, because you got Deshaun.
That's where all the guys are at.
You got Deshaun, you got Pat, you got Lamar, you got
Herbert,
Joe, you got Herbert.
So
Josh Allen. I mean,
like I said, it's just unfortunate. History tells you he won't get back, but I just feel like. Have to wait and see.
Very, very well stacked and very.
We'll definitely see how he responds next year, and that's where we're really going to know a lot about him. How do you respond after this? Last year, the previous year, he got hurt.
It was very interesting to see, but I'm also very curious to see Brock Purdy without the weapons, as I was very curious to see Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill, and he answered the bell for 2 Super Bowls.
Moving on, talking about. In that Super Bowl, that Kansas City Chiefs defense all year. Disrespected. Overall, held everybody to about under 16.8 points per game. In the playoffs, they were at 15.8. Outside of, Patrick Mahomes, in that Super Bowl, that defense, MVP in my opinion. They strapped those guys down. Like we said, they strapped down Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. Obviously, CMC got what he wanted, but it's Christian McCaffrey. He's going to get his because he's that type of caliber of player. But, Patrick Mahomes, what can you say? 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time regular season MVP. He's got 3 rings. Obviously, of the players that are in the league, he's not looking at them. They're all looking at him. He's head and shoulders above. He's one, and then it's like there's 3. Like, there's no second place, in my opinion. I know.
So it's him. It's 2. So it's him, and then 2 and 3.
The gap between 2 and
5 are here.
It's him. Where do you rank Patrick Mahomes all time? Obviously, Tom Brady's number 1 in a lot of people's eyes. Yeah. In my opinion, before I let you answer, I know Joe Montana's got 4 rings. I get that.
Undefeated.
Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, what he did with this team and these playoffs, with this roster, with everything, it's Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, all time. I just think this Super Bowl, for me, put him over Joe Montana. And that's not disrespecting Joe, because we all know Joe Montana.
What Joe can do and what Joe is.
I just think he's number 2 all time. Where do you have?
Well, this was statistically, and by all metrics, the hardest path by any team had to take to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
By none.
Next was the Dolphins.
The Giants, but we're running through the teams in the walk round. Giants at home.
The Dolphins at home.
Sorry, the Dolphins at home in the second to third coldest game ever recorded in the playoffs.
Then had to go to Buffalo, where he
been out on the road, which Mahomes and Chiefs never done in Mahomes' era. Against Buffalo, beat them in a great game. Hats off to Buffalo. We love Buffalo. Hats off to you guys.
Then goes to Baltimore
and take care of the Ravens and Lamar. Lamar choked again, and then
against the 49ers.
Niners, took care of business again. I would, at this point, you have to put. I don't like doing it, but you would have to put Mahomes in the GOAT-esque conversation above Montana. You have to put him 2 overall, not just based off of accolades and what he's achieved, the MVPs, the Super Bowls.
Not less than an AFC Championship game in his whole career.
6 straight years has been. He's been in League 7, but has been a starter for 6.
Yep.
And has been to 6 straight AFC Championship games. But if you just look at what he has done in 6 years. Show me a player that has achieved or has done or has looked like Mahomes in the first 6 years as a running back, wide receiver, corner, safety, at any position has done what he has done throughout the whole entire the NFL, the whole entire years. You don't have one. I mean, Lawrence Taylor comes close. I mean, that dude was a stud. But but you don't really have a guy you can say that dude is the all-time GOAT. Tom Brady in a GOAT debate, you put him as him. But if anybody could catch Brady in a GOAT debate, to me, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's been in the league 7 years. He's been a starter for 6.
4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl rings.
And has 3 Super Bowls. He's 3-1. 3-1. And I'm not trying to get into a big GOAT debate, but Brady has 3 really bad losses on his resume in the Super Bowl.
2 to Eli.
He lost 2 to Eli with an undefeated team, which is probably
with
the
Randy
worst.
Moss, which is crazy that they lost
with that defense, with a top 10 defense, because Brady never did not bring a top 10 defense to the Super Bowl, and then lost to a no-name backup Nick Foles with the Eagles in the Philadelphia Special. Those are 3 bad losses, but he's still 7 Super Bowls is still more than 3.
Yep.
But I think he's 2. He's a solid 2 argument.
So you have him in front of Joe Montana.
I think it's a good debate with him and Joe, and Tom Brady is there just because of the longevity.
Yeah. It's when you look at what Patrick's been able to accomplish, and you go back to when Patrick was drafted. I didn't like the pick. I'm not going to lie.
No, I didn't like it either. I thought we were going after skill or defense or something.
And you think about everybody that disrespected Patrick Mahomes. And a lot of Chiefs fans didn't disrespect him, but we were confused because we had Alex Smith. We didn't know what was going on. We thought, like you said, we were going after a receiver, whatever. And what Patrick's been able to come to do and turn into a player that nobody saw coming. You can't. Even he said he never knew he'd become this coming out of Texas, but he worked hard. And you have to give a lot of credit to Alex Smith, who understood the assignment and was okay. The organization told him, "We're drafting this guy," and he mentored him. You think about a lot of greats. Quarterbacks, bring up Brett Favre. He didn't want to mentor Aaron Rodgers. Nope. Brady didn't want to mentor Brissett.
Aaron Rodgers didn't want to mentor Jordan Love.
No, so you think about Alex Smith taught Patrick Mahomes how to be a pro. And Patrick Mahomes even said...
But he grew up. But Mahomes grew up in the professional eye with his dad being a professional baseball player. Yeah. So he knew of...
If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, we soak this up. Like, I'm soaking all this up because I know at some point it's going to end. But, I mean, what we've been able to accomplish, it's crazy. And we got another person you got to talk about, Andy Reid. Yeah. He's got 3 Super Bowls underneath his belt now.
Yeah.
Him being the greatest coach of all time is an absolute debate now. It is a debate, and I don't care what anybody says. And I'm not disrespecting Bill Belichick like a lot of people in the National Football League are now, current and former players. Bill Belichick has always been a defensive-minded coach. His defense were always top-notch. Even when they were losing, the defenses were still good.
Yes.
I can't help that the offenses were ass. It is what it is. But it is a debate. Chris Jones, 3 rings. That's probably more of a debate.
I think that's a very interesting debate to have. If he, he's a pending free agent.
Yep.
If he stays in Kansas City and they work out a deal, that'd be very interesting. Yep. If he stays in Kansas City for the longevity of his career and he snags one more, does he surpass, the Warren Sapp?
Or the Lawrence Taylors of the league as a great defensive player of all time.
Or, the Aaron Donalds, Aaron Dubs as the best defensive tackle ever.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald has 1. Chris Jones has
3.
So,
and he's shown up in those games.
And he showed up in the big time, and he's been
at the right moments when you need him to show up too. And
so
that's a debate.
Him, this offseason, I think, is a very big controversy.
It's a legacy.
It's a legacy decision. If he moves on and he ends up, in Tampa,
Chicago,
Bears,
or something like that to get paid,
and Commanders, and just to get his money. Well, then he's going to be really well paid with 3 Super Bowl rings, and that's going to be that.
It'll just kind of be, you can have that conversation.
I mean, he had 10.5 sacks this year.
He did.
On missing 1 or 2 games.
1 or 2 games.
But that's still going to be hard to say that he was better than if you go by the ring count.
Yeah, and then another great debate is the Travis Kelce. Is he the greatest tight end of all time? A lot of people are still not ready to give him that title over Gronk, and maybe you could call me a biased person, but we watch Gronk. I know what Gronk was capable of and what Gronk did. What Travis Kelce does, too. I mean, it's hard to not say that Travis isn't the best tight end of all time.
Well, you just can't say Gronk. You have Antonio Gates. You have Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
you have Jason Witten.
Winslow, Kenny Winslow or Kellen Winslow, right? I'm botching the first name.
You're botching every. Even him too.
No man, I literally lost the name. There's so many tight ends.
There's a lot of good tight. Jeremy Shockey. There's a lot of tight ends up that you could put
Dallas Clark
that would have a debate.
But really, the debate is Gronk and Kelsey.
It's Gronk.
Gonzalez never got the rings.
Gonzalez. It's not necessarily always about the rings when it comes to skill position.
But let's also talk about this too. Travis Kelce passed Jerry Rice. He's about to knock Jerry Rice's records out. Next is yards.
He also beat Gronk's records in the postseason.
Him and Patrick together.
Yes.
So
he has the most receptions in the postseason, surpassing Gronk. Surpassing Jerry Rice in the postseason.
Think about that. His name's next to Jerry Rice.
Who everybody, I think, undisputedly considers, maybe not my buddy here, considers Jerry Rice.
That's for another
the
episode.
GOAT at wide receiver / tight end at the receiving end of it. In the postseason, I think Travis Kelce has a very strong debate to be.
Next year, Travis Kelce can literally take over Jerry Rice in yards and touchdowns in the postseason, and he'll own all those records.
All three. He already owns the receptions.
Yes.
He gets the receiving yards and touchdowns. They're all within reach in the next 2 years.
And think about how long those records have stood. And if Kelce gets those with another 2-3 years on his belt,
and he's played less games and has already surpassed him.
Yeah, so those are great debates to have. The real debate I want to have here: can the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat? Where Patrick Mahomes is restructuring his contract to try to make some room to sign some key defensive pieces like L'Jarius Sneed. Possibly Jones. Willie Gay, Chris Jones. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys, but it comes down to, think about it. We won a Super Bowl in a rebuild year. We won a Super Bowl in a down year. Now we're about to free up a lot more money. We already have money available.
$14 million above the cap. That's
can we three-peat? In all honesty, there's a lot of factors you have to take into.
What do you need?
Health.
What do you need? If the Chiefs, we talk about the Niners a lot because kudos to the Niners. We don't think we really hate the Niners. We spent a decent amount of time on the Niners. Go Niners, gang. You still lost. Sucks to suck. So the Chiefs, if they want to get back, they want to three-peat. They want to win because the division got harder. They went and got Jim Harbaugh
for the Chargers.
They got Herbert.
Rashid Rice broke records as a rookie. 26.
You gotta give kudos to him. 26 catches.
A rookie. Think about it. There's people on the Kansas City Chiefs roster that know nothing less than a Super Bowl.
Yes, that's very true.
There are a lot of guys where
Isaiah Pacheco is the first ever running back to start back-to-back seasons as a rookie and get 2 rings.
No one else has ever done that.
No. Trey McDuffie. George Karlaftis.
I have to bring this up.
They know nothing less. And there's players that know nothing less than an AFC Championship game.
Or Super Bowl.
So the standard is set. If the Chiefs want to get if they want to get a chance to three-peat, what do they have to do?
They have to go get another wide receiver, whether it's in free agency or in this draft, because there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft, to put alongside Rashid Rice.
So you think Rashid Rice will be able to take...
Rashid Rice is number one. I don't care for...
But you think that Rashid Rice can develop
absolutely
more than just what he is. So you can,
absolutely. He showed it in the playoffs. Big catches. The moment was not too big for him.
The drops went away. The fumbling went away. So I have to agree.
Defensively, we can keep the core guys.
What core guys if you had to choose? Chris Jones or Sneed? If you have to choose, if you're pressed against the fire because the cap doesn't allow it, you can't.
I know Chris Jones said he's not going nowhere, and I get that. We've been there before. We had another guy that said he didn't want to leave, and Tyreek Hill, who I know has got to feel some type of way right now since we've won two Super Bowls since we traded you, buddy.
I appreciate it, my guy. I appreciate
you what you did for us, but at the same time, we wouldn't have a lot of these guys if it wasn't for that trade.
Even Isaiah Pacheco wouldn't have happened without that.
I'll tell you this: if I had to choose a guy, and this is no disrespect because I love Chris Jones, I would keep Sneed, franchise tag Chris Jones, and package him like we did Tyreek Hill, and just get more. We draft very well. I
think that's really hats off to our GM.
But if, me personally, to three-peat, I just think we need a little bit more on the offense. Defensively, Spags is going to have those guys ready. We're hungry. We're chasing something. We're not even chasing the Patriots, Tom Brady. We are creating something completely different over here in Kansas City. We are chasing.
Whoa. You don't think potentially Patrick Mahomes being the GOAT, Travis Kelce chasing the GOAT title, Andy Reid chasing potentially a GOAT title. They're not chasing the Patriots dynasty.
They are,
no. There's no team that's ever three-peated.
No.
The Patriots, last time that went back-to-back. So you don't think in their
21
mind...
years since we back-to-back.
But that was the Patriots.
The Patriots.
It was the Patriots in the dynasty with Tom Brady.
Yep.
And Bill Belichick.
Yep.
You don't think in their mind they're thinking if we three-peat, that's something that they never did? That's something
they're looking at like they never did that. That's something they could... And think about it. You've never had anybody three-peat in the National Football League. So to be able to three-peat would be crazy. I'm not saying they're not chasing those guys, but they're not letting that
get to them. You don't think that's fire?
Like, it is fire. It is fire, but I'm saying, like, they're looking... I think they look across the table saying, we're already better.
Equals. I'm better.
I'm already...
Okay.
Like, Patrick, you compare their first 6 seasons. Patrick is like... again, it's different era, not different era, but like we said, like they said, Tom Brady's first 6 seasons, he was developing. It was Belichick more than Brady. After his 7th season, it was Brady more than Belichick because Brady just, overtook it. Mahomes and Andy Reid in this Kansas City Chiefs organization already looks across the table and says, I'm better than you. Like, that's how they look at it. Like, we're equals. I'm not...
I guess what I'm saying is that you don't think they're using the last dynasty that died, which was the Patriots, Tom Brady, and Belichick, as fuel to be better, because that has never happened. So you don't think the Travis, the Rees,
they're fired. Mahomes, they see
that because you need something. When you're the best of this, you got to get something. No one's been back to back, so we got to be the back to back. No one's three-peated. Chris Jones said, I need the back-to-back. I need those 3 rings for the back-to-back-to-back.
It comes down to, like I said, I'll say this. It comes down to legacy for Chris Jones. It's legacy. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as a guy that potentially went for a three-peat, something that's never been done in the National Football League? Or do you want to get that back? Or do you want to make your legacy bigger than anybody else's in the National Football League, take a little bit less, get a little bit more incentives up front, however we got to work it out, and chase history, something that no one else has ever done, chasing that three-peat. Yeah. And that's always something I've said. I'll use Tyreek Hill for example. Tyreek wanted to stay with Kansas City, but his agent was like, we got to get that bag. At the end of the day, you're judged off rings. I don't give a fuck what anything else is. In any sport, you're judged by championships. Yep. It's the way, especially if you're top of your position, like a Tyreek Hill, who's a top wide receiver, Travis Kelce, the top tight end in the National Football League. Everybody's looking up to him. Like Patrick Mahomes is the top quarterback in the National Football League. Everybody is looking up to him. The Joe Burrows, the Allens, the Hurts, the Brocks, everybody in Lamar's, they're looking up to Patrick Mahomes. He's not looking back at them.
No.
They're looking to him. So that's this is what it comes down to, and Patrick says the best. He's still hungry. He's 28 years old, and he's hungry. They're not satisfied. Like they said, we're partied up, and it's back to work. I got to get better. Like they're chasing something greater than the Patriots dynasty and everything. There's more to it.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is they're using more of the last dynasty more.
Like I'm fired up. Like it's crazy to think that the Kansas City Chiefs can three-peat. Like, I'm not trying to get ahead of it, but damn, you three-peat? And Patrick Mahomes three-peats? You are the GOAT. I'll tell you this right now, and I will say it on record, and I will say it with my chest out. If the Kansas City Chiefs come into next season and they win the Super Bowl in New Orleans and three-peat, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. We've always said he didn't need 7 to be the GOAT. No, he needed 4 to 5. It's kind of like the LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate. No one's ever said that LeBron needed 6. It comes down to longevity, and it's a debate. Jordan, Michael. Some people have Jordan. Some people have LeBron. And if he three-peats, or even if he doesn't three-peat and he gets more Super Bowls, it will come down to he got him and he's the GOAT. Granted, so many people move in sports, in any sport, the goal post for being the GOAT is different. You nitpick at every little thing. But like I said, he three-peats in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. He's the greatest quarterback of all time, and I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I said it with my chest out. My chest is out.
We'll have GOATs of GOATs debate. It'll be a great thing to have. Quickly, name it down. What is to offense and defensively? What do the Chiefs have to do? If they have to do one move on each side to be able to repeat, what would it be?
Offensively, we need to get another wide receiver to go along with Rashee Rice, a skill position player, and defensively, it's 1A, 1B. Retain all the guys that we got that we can,
the best,
and draft more rookies and play them like we've done the last 2 years.
If you had to choose, you can't franchise one and sign one. You can't franchise and trade. You can't franchise and trade. You either sign one and let one walk. Which one are you taking? Which one are you walking? CeeDee McDuffie's great. It's a great duo, but we showed that we can draft well. So do you take the duo,
I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Or do you take the impact Chris Jones, who stopped Josh Allen from hitting the wide open guy, who has stopped Brock Purdy
from hitting the open guy,
and has also hit Lamar, that stopped him from hitting also the wide open guy. Which one are you taking, the duo or the impact D lineman, who also we tried to go up and trade for a replacement for because we knew this was happening. The same way we went and got Miguel Hardman for Tyreek Hill when he got in those allegations with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
If you got to take one. You gotta take one, let one walk.
Even though the marriage is great, I would take Chris Jones. I would want Chris Jones because it's hard to replace. It's hard to replace that, and I love L'Jarius Sneed. But like you said, we draft well. I mean, think about last year. We had rookies playing at corners, and they were strapping people down.
They were. I mean, they did the job. In
a perfect world, I would love to keep everybody, but like you said, you can only sign one. I would, if I'm gonna keep Sneed, then I need to get a Tyreek Hill type package for Chris Jones. And if I can't get that, then I'm keeping Chris Jones, and I let L'Jarius Sneed go get his bag, which would be well deserved, and move on. You know, it would be a tough thing to let go.
I would have to agree. Chris Jones, to me,
he's more impactful, and I'm not saying L'Jarius Sneed's not, but Chris Jones.
No, but Chris Jones is more impactful because you can lock down your guy all you want, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we saw Chris Jones get there more times than not and affect Josh Allen when Sneed, McDuffie, Reed, Cook has fallen short in pass coverage. Chris Jones has gotten there. I think Chris Jones deserves whatever he wants. I think both of them deserve what they want. But if I had to put my hands, I was pressed against it. I had to choose one. CJ would be my guy. Offensively,
you just have to.
Offensively,
like I said,
I agree with you. I think
you have to keep.
I would much more prefer to go sign a proven talent, a la Mike Evans for a reasonable deal. Yep. Really, my signing for me would be a T. Higgins from the Bengals, just to dig it in there to them a little bit because
he don't want to be there. I'll tell you that.
I don't think he wants to be there, but also the Bengals fans kind of irk me in a little bit because honestly I was a big Joe Burrow fan, but y'all kind of irked me. That's a different story. But regardless, I think signing a skill position and retaining CJ would be huge.
Take the impactful player like Lawrence. You wouldn't let Lawrence Taylor walk. No. He's an impactful, game-changing player.
You let Marcus Peters go for a reason.
You can replace him. Their corners are like running backs. You can always find one.
Our GM has proven more times than not that he...
And that's not a knock on anybody.
It's not, but the past 3 drafts, he's found talent.
You can't find Lawrence Taylors. You can't find Chris Joneses and Aaron Donalds, Patrick Mahomes, Tom... You just don't... Those guys are so...
walks, we still have Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
With a bunch of...
I mean, look, we let the Honey Badger go, and we were right back with...
Well, we went and let him go, and we got Justin Reed, and Justin Reed's just been just as impactful.
Yeah, so...
It has 2 when Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, wanted more money, and he's in New Orleans just kind of living out the rest of his career when he could have had more.
What a season it was. Ultimately, it came down to
great season.
The Kansas City Chiefs getting it. It was great. I'll tell you right now, I cried at his house. It meant so much to get this one after everything that the Kansas City Chiefs went through offensively. The doubting, and it was always Josh Allen's going to be better, Lamar's going to be better, Brock's going to be better, two of this, and they overcame it all. People can keep with their conspiracies and blame whatever, but at the end of the day, we showed up, we got it done.
Honestly, you can thank the conspiracy, script writers for getting the Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be the Ravens and Niners.
Yep.
And the conspiracy came
according
out.
To the logo.
According to the logo, it's supposed to be Ravens Niners, but you couldn't let that happen, so the Chiefs got in it, and I guess upset the Niners that were somehow a point and a half favorite.
It's sad that football's over. We got to wait now. We got a lot of things coming up. College football, college basketball coming up.
To still talk about.
The NFL draft's coming up, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button to the channel. We thank you again for tuning in to another great episode of J&B Unsupervised. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got more stuff coming. Football might be over, but there's a lot more to talk about. So subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in.